All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Mark and my friend over here, Nick. Say hello, Nick.
What's up,
And then,
guys?
then off screen, we've got our friend. What's his name?
His name is Dingleberry.
Dingleberry. So it's a yellow-headed
Yellow-naped
Amazon parrot.
Amazon. He's a
Yeah,
parrot, yeah.
yellow-naped Amazon parrot off screen here. So we've got a couple of us here. So as you guys are coming in, I see we've already got a couple here already. Say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, what you got going on a Tuesday morning, what the weather's like where you're at. What's the weather like in North Carolina this morning, Nick?
Pretty
Daytime?
much like any other like fall day. It's
Yeah.
a little bit chilly. It's about 46 degrees here today.
Look at that, man.
I mean, foggy out.
We're right in the same place then.
Hey, look at
that.
Google weather's like it's about 47 degrees. It's a bit foggy.
Yep.
It's gonna be a nice day though today, I think.
That's great. Awesome. Well, I'll just say hi to a couple of people in the chat there. We got Shelly. What's up, Music Chick Art? Good to see you from Toronto, Canada. Houston, Texas is raining. Got Rajan. I don't know where you're at, my friend. I see a link there. But let me know where you're watching from. Cheyenne, good to see you from Arkansas. Good to see you guys. P Ridge, Arkansas. Natasha, we've got a couple from Arkansas on already. Karen Turner, good morning from Bloomington, Indiana. Sunny and 67. That's not fair. That's warmer than we are. Me and Nick both.
I like the cold.
Yep, I do like it a little chilly too. Christy Cotner, good morning from Siloam Springs. You're just down the road from me, not too far. That's cool. Claudia, good morning from Cleveland, Ohio. Lori Howard from East Texas, a little chilly there. I heard, someone else said it's raining in Texas. We'll probably get that soon as well. Will from Sacramento. Will is in the house. Catherine Anderson right down the road from Will, I believe. Shelly said it's 53 in Missouri. We got two Shellys. Hello from Horsham, Pennsylvania. Good to see you guys. All right, cool. Good to see some people. We've already got about 25 people already, so that is great. Here in just a minute, me and Nick will get to talking about all things design. It's going to be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, while you guys are jumping in here, we'll give you about another 2 minutes. And if you guys have any questions for me or for Nick, we'll give our best shot, or we'll make something up. I mean, right? But it'll be a lot of fun this morning. That'll be great. Hey, Will, you can probably take care of that for me. I know what you're looking at. You can probably take care of that right there in the chat for me, I'm betting. Good morning, Jan. Good to see you. Dee Dee, good morning. Man, it's awesome. Oh, who's watching from Urgent Care? Who is that?
Ooh.
Yeah, somebody's in Urgent Care. Hey, from Alaska. We've always got a couple from Alaska on every time we're on, so that's great too.
Now they're where I want to be. I want to move to Alaska.
Yeah. Yep. I like it when it's chilly myself. Growing up in Michigan, I'm kind of a chilly guy myself. All right. Well, cool. Well, for those of you guys who don't know Nick, why don't you just take take however long you want. Actually, it's your show. We're just passing through. But why don't you let everybody know where you got started with lasers? Like, when did you get your laser? What caused you to get it? And I'll just jump in there and we'll talk about where we met and everything too. But how long ago did you get your laser? What kind of laser did you get? And what made you get it?
It was about 4 years ago. I want to say almost 4 years, right around there. I got a Glowforge Pro. It was the first laser I actually ever really saw. And then I got my hands on one. I started following the Glowforge Kickstarter and everything, like back in the day. Just like, oh my God, that looks so cool!
Right?
Look at what you can do with this, and all their videos and stuff like that. And eventually, I got one because my buddy, who actually I have his bird right now, he got me the Glowforge. He bought it and asked what I could do with that machine after seeing what I'd been doing with 3D printers and stuff.
So you had a history of 3D printers then.
Yeah, that's what I really started with. I started making stuff with 3D printers. I bought a couple of those and made some doodads, some knickknacks.
Yep.
And he saw that and was like, what could you do with this? And he showed me the Glowforge, and I knew exactly what that was. And I'm like, I can do a lot with that. I just have to learn how to use it.
Right.
And he's like, all right, well, here you go. And he got one for me. And since then, I've just been learning how to use the Glowforge and design software like Adobe Illustrator to make stuff.
Nice. And you are self-taught on Illustrator?
Yeah. The YouTube Academy.
Right. Yes. Yep. You and me both. That's right. Now, were you using Illustrator at all with your 3D printing, or was that something else?
No. Honestly, when it came to the 3D printing, trying to do my own design work there, I tried to dabble into like Fusion 360 because it's a like 3D design program.
Right.
SketchUp a little bit, and I never was able to really wrap my head around 3D design. The software and me don't really get along.
Yeah.
Whereas Illustrator or even stuff like Inkscape, I mean, you can literally just draw what you need to make. And with the stuff like Fusion, you gotta do more than just draw what you're trying to make. You gotta know the math behind so much. And I'm like, I don't really know the math or the interface and everything else is just, it's not user friendly or me friendly. Whereas, like I said, Illustrator, you literally just draw, whether you're using a mouse or like a tablet style thing, you can put pen to paper, so to speak. And that's way easier for me.
I know you and I talked yesterday about both of us wanting to learn Fusion 360. And I definitely want to do that as well. But when I opened it up myself, it was not instantly intuitive. So I pushed it off, and I know I need to come back to it for sure.
It is definitely not instantly intuitive. I spent a couple months with it, and I never got far.
Yeah. No, I didn't either. And then I think depending on who you are, it costs different amounts of money too. I got to figure out what that costs. It's not free for sure.
I'm pretty sure that there's still a way to get it if for free, as long as you don't make like X amount of money with it. I don't know. Well, it's hard to. The free link is hidden somewhere in their site, but I know there should still be a way to get your hands on it.
Well, I'll check it out. I definitely love what I see there. I just got to learn how to use it. Man, side note, every morning I totally forget that this burning ball of light comes up outside this window. And I got to remember not to do lives at this computer at this time of the day because I can't see anything.
I can't work where I'm at.
Yeah.
About an hour ago, the sun would have been like right here on the side, just pelting me. Yeah, it looks like you got that.
when I set up this office, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to put my computer right in front of the window because I want to look outside, which I do. But that thing, I forgot about it because it only comes up every day. Man. Okay. So you've had your Glowforge for about 4 years ish, plus or minus.
Yeah.
And so then you self-taught on Illustrator, and that's kind of an ongoing thing for everybody. I know you're just always learning.
It's most certainly an ongoing thing.
Yep.
Just trying to like learn new tools and stuff, like just playing around with them, figuring out what this does. Can I do this a different way?
Yep. I could tell you and I think we probably ran into each other probably in the Glowforge user group. Probably. Yeah. Is that probably where I don't remember?
That is like the first one that I came across and joined in on.
And so we were talking about what designs of yours were the kind of the first ones that I saw or the first ones that got my attention. And I know that the one that always and still does stick out to me is the old time radio that you made that holds the Alexa Dot. Yeah. And I'm going to pull that up on the screen for everybody because I know you've made tons of things since then, but it's still one of my favorites. And I think it's one of your favorites too, isn't it?
It is one of my favorites. It was like my first, like, did it myself, 3-dimensional built
Yeah,
thing.
it's really cool. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. So this is what I'm referring to here. And let's just kind of talk through this thing. So you've got an Alexa dot there in the middle. I'm going to keep saying Alexa over and over again for anybody that's watching, if I can set off yours. Nick and I both had to unplug ours because we kept setting them off.
I haven't done anything with that one yet. You have the Gen 4 there, and I've been pondering what to do with the Sphere one.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see what you come up with. Obviously, the flat ones, or I guess the dots, are a little easier in that regard.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're hockey pucks. You got more flat sides.
So, talk me through this one. When you started, was this a request by somebody or something you did? How did you start with this one?
No, that one was just like a for me thing. I was sitting there. I had just gotten in like a shipment of wood, and I had my dot and everything sitting there. And I was just really thinking to myself, I want to make this not look like a hockey puck.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make it 100% more fancy, and to experiment with putting existing hardware into something that I could do myself, just work around something that's already there.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I just started out, got some measurements going, and after it took me a couple of days to like figure it all out, but that's what we ended up with. I started using reference material because my grandmother had like some old looking radios like this. And that's where the inspiration came from. Just kind of like to recreate grandma's old radio.
Nice. Check this out. Shelly said she's made a couple of those. That's really cool.
That's awesome. I know a lot of people have made them. I've shared this design all over the place.
Well, I'm, in fact, I don't know if I'm coordinated enough to do it while we're live, but I'm going to go buy it myself because I want to make it too. It's super cool. So a couple of things jumped to my mind. You mentioned to me, you mostly use wood from Casey, right? Smoky Hill Designs.
I use a lot of stuff from Mr. Casey Cruz.
Yep.
And then for like my structural stuff, like that's all made from wood from like Columbia Forest Products.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Ooh, what is that the middle? Is that cherry, or what's the big piece in the middle there?
The central face of that one, that's a slab of cedar.
Oh, okay.
That's cedar, and then the outside is walnut, and then it has like a little bit of maple like highlights going on. And then the blue back there, that was, I believe it was maple that I then painted blue.
Really
with like
nice.
A little bit of like metallic silvery sparkle stuff. But that one's got a case made out of cedar.
Oh, I just noticed it. I didn't see it before. So the handle that's here on the side.
Yeah.
As a designer, I'm starting to notice, okay, that's the end of the living hinge curve, right? Nice. I appreciate that on a different level right there. That's cool. I love it. Well, so this is the first one probably that really got my attention that you made, and I still love it to this day. It's really, really cool. John has a question here in the chat. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I cannot see the chat.
Okay, I'll read it to you. It's long. I'll put it on the screen, but says, both of you I consider as kerf-specific designers, and I know that you'll smile at that, Nick. Other than informing your buyers that they may need to adjust slots to accommodate for the material they use and inform them how to calculate kerf, how do you know when your file is ready for purchase? I know both of you test your files extensively, but do you release the design once it fits as expected to your standards with your material? That's a great question. I think I know what he's asking. I'm going to take it off the screen because it's large here, but let me rephrase that and kind of throw that at you, and I'll answer it too. When you are preparing a file to sell and it has to fit together in some way, we talked about this yesterday.
We did dabble on this one a bit.
Yes. Like we both, it's rare that we get it right the first time, for starters. I mean everything.
Never.
Yeah, never.
Never get it right the first time.
No, and it's not necessarily going to be for me, at least, I won't speak for you. My problem isn't necessarily like a tab fitting in the slot. That's usually not my problem. I'm usually good there. But my problem is like with that living hinge that you had going around the top of the radio,
Right.
I'll make it too short, or something will be wrong in that regard, not necessarily the tab in the slot, but I don't know where your mistakes tend to happen, but that's where mine does. My calculations are wrong, something like that.
My mistakes always pop up sometimes in kerf. I'm a very big fan of getting as many parts as I possibly can to like really click together and stay together. So sometimes it is with kerf that I struggle. For like a lot of my stuff, the material is super specific.
Yeah.
Like if you don't use the same material, there's a good chance that the design won't ever go together.
Yeah.
Even if you make adjustments.
Right.
Like if you change the slots and stuff, like to make them fit your material. The way I use layers and put pieces against each other and then build off of those in connected ways, if the layers are off, if the material's like a different thickness, that'll throw off the entire design.
Yep.
To where it won't really connect or go together the right way.
Well, and let's lead into this because you talked yesterday about how you really prefer not to use glue if you can help it, not use it at all.
I don't like making messes with glue because if I'm trying to build something and I mess up on the glue, well, here comes new parts that need to be cut because I glued this to that or that to me, and now it doesn't work anymore.
I like what you just said, or that to me, because I've done the same thing, man. I've been doing a bunch of walkthrough videos lately, showing people how to put together some of my designs, and I've been using super glue because I need it to go quickly. Because
I need it to buy now.
Well, especially because I'm shooting a video.
Yeah, you're doing a video, super glue, because now.
That's exactly right. But I can't tell you how many times I've been, gluing something, not my phone, obviously. Well, yet, but holding something and then 3, 2, 1, and it's like, I'm part of it now.
You're still stuck to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awful. And the other thing, I'll admit this to everybody. The last 2 projects that I've done, the last building for the Christmas town that we made, it took me well over a week to get the support video out because I screwed the video up over and over and over, mostly because I was shooting when I was tired or distracted, and I had a whole bunch of pieces in front of me, and I just glued 2 pieces together that don't go together. I got the wrong 2, and when you're doing super glue, it's kind of like, yoink, oh, that's permanent now. Except for it was worse because you could probably break that off, but I did one of these. And of course, that's not going anywhere. And I did that last night. I did that last night too. I was doing, we have a Christmas countdown that I'm going to release today for my VIPs. And I totally glued 2 pieces together that don't go together. And there's nothing you can do except recut those pieces and do it again. So yeah, but so I wanted to show everybody this piano of yours. I want to talk through this one. This one's really cool. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. It's another one that holds an Echo Dot, right?
Yeah. Or the like the counter one there. What is it? The Google Mini?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of those can also go in there. Well, and same with the radio too. Ever since I did like a new version of it, a lot of people requested that I look at getting it a little bit larger for the Google Mini to go in there. So they both do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. While this is on the screen too, I forgot. I got you distracted with John's question is, do you release the design once it fits as expected to your standards? So I guess the answer for that would be what I do, and I think you do also, is I'll make my design to fit the way that my material fits. I'll just hold up something random I can reach close to me. So this chair, as soon as these tabs fit the way that I want them to, then I'll release it and I'll say, in my description, I'll say, this is the material I used. This is the thickness or the size of the slots. I'll give all that information because no matter what I do, someone else is probably not likely to have the same material I have. So as long as it fits properly with my material, that's really the most that I can do. So I release it that way. Is that similar to what you do?
Kind of. I'll get them to the point where everything is interlocking and super tight.
Yep.
And then I'll back it off a little bit just in
Yeah.
case there is that variation where you get with like the woods.
Yep.
Like Columbia Forest products are super reliable in their thickness. It's always between like 5 and 5.2 millimeters thick. So I design around like a medium between those at 5.1.
Okay.
And then I'll make sure that everything's super tight on that 5.1 threshold, and then back it off a bit, kind of like loosen up all the little slots or make certain ones a little bit tighter just in case that I want like a certain area to be pressure fit or just interlock in with like a slight bend almost.
Yep.
To create the extra tightness, but without having to really adjust all the slot work. Sometimes it can be time consuming, but
It is.
I definitely look for everything to be as solid as possible without using glue or other hardware before I release something. Now, I always say that glue is suggested and will make things solid. But before I release the file, I like to make it so it's buildable, ideally without it.
Yeah. I think you'll agree with this. Let me make the statement, then you're welcome to for your rebuttal if you'd like. Even if we have a material like, let's say, Columbia Forest that is pretty dang consistent, the possibility still is out there that it could be different when somebody buys
Certainly.
it in Michigan, or wherever they buy it.
That's why I got a pair of these handy dandy calipers, and
That's
mine
right.
are pretty crappy, but they get me like the rough estimate of the measurement that I need. I need to get a really fancy set. Yes, your whole your tab
the
maker.
slot sizer. Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the reality. The reality is it's entirely possible. I want everybody to hear this. If you haven't heard this, or if you've heard 100 times, I want you to hear it 101. No matter what we do as designers, it is entirely possible that your material is not the same as ours. And always possible, no matter what, it's possible. And no matter what we choose to make the slots, if we choose to make the slots loose or super crazy tight, that's going to affect what happens to you as well. And we can't possibly know what material you're using. So it's really, really, really important that every laser owner does a couple things. You should have your own pair of calipers. They're not that expensive. You can get decent ones for under $20.
Mine
you don't
are
need
$5 and they work.
Yeah, they don't need to be expensive. Okay, right? And if you get that caliper that goes out to like the fourth decimal point to the right of the fourth decimal point, you're talking, is that 10 thousandths of an inch, I think?
Tenths, hundredths, thousands. Yeah, 10 thousandths.
I mean, that is crazy small amounts. You don't need it you don't need to be that exact. That's my opinion. But what I'm saying is, if I back off by 1/10,000th of an inch, I promise that's not going to change the fit that much. I mean, when you're talking about that far, that is tiny, tiny. But my point is, every laser owner should have a pair of calipers and should hear me out. Work toward being comfortable adjusting slots. I get that it's not overnight. I understand that. But if you don't, you're going to forever be a slave to having to buy something that's exactly made for the thickness of your material. And that's just going to be a 50-50 crapshoot at best. So I don't know. Do you agree with that? I think that every laser owner should work toward getting comfortable adjusting slots because it's in your best interest to do so.
Oh, certainly. Like even I think everybody that works with a laser should learn how to make at least like their own basic boxes without using a generator.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Learn how to just create like some tabs and some slot work and do a couple different styles of box. So that way you know how the parts work in 3D space and can feel comfortable about making changes on the things that you want to make.
I agree. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna talk about your piano here, but now you got me on this topic, so I want to stay on it with you for a minute.
That's fine.
Um, when you were learning, I say we're learning, you're still
I'm
learning.
still
We're
learning,
both
buddy.
still learning. One of the things that I embraced early on was waste for me. Material waste is okay, and let me be more specific. A certain amount of material waste is just part of the deal. And so
Man.
I stopped worrying about that. I try to waste cheap material. Like I don't try to waste expensive stuff. But I've just decided that, you know what, it's the, like Will says, it's a version of what one of Will's phrases is failure is the tuition for success. And I have a large stack of waste over here in the other room that I'm just like, oh, okay. Not that I'm wanting to throw money out the window, but Mark's got to learn. And this is the way that Mark learns, and he's going to make mistakes, and it's just okay. So,
Most certainly, I've
yeah,
got bad cut pieces and whole boards and you name it. Like it piles up. It does, especially when you start doing stuff that's
right.
3-dimensional or out there. It does happen. Mistakes and waste is part of it. It really is.
Absolutely. It is. Music Chick Art. She's great. She's on all of our lives. She's fantastic. She wants to make the piano badly. So, well, she doesn't want to make it badly. She wants to make it badly. Yeah. She wants to make it well. Yeah. Anyway, it's early morning. I haven't had anything this morning yet, so I'm tired. But yeah, I'm gonna make both these because they look great. We everybody, let's just keep this secret with Brian. We're not going to tell his boss that he's on with us. That's totally fine. It's just between the three of us, Brian. Nobody else is here. Your boss isn't here, I don't think. And I just have to say, hi, Robin. Good to see you, my friend. We are all big fans of Robin and her work. She does a great job.
Amazing stuff.
Amazing stuff. Absolutely. Oh, what's up, Contrary Mary? Good to see you. Looking so forward to this. That's great. Obviously, you're looking forward to Nick because I just drone on and on. But that's great. Earlier, a couple people asked where can they shop with Nick. I just want to make sure that everybody knows you can find him here, etsy.com/shop, Sands Factory. What's the name? Where does the name come from?
Okay, so at one point in time, me and a couple other people were looking at doing like a partner thing, and my Etsy went. The easiest way to do it was to change my Etsy from Knickknacks into a group. So Sands Factory is just a play on words. It's our initials. So it was Stephen, Andrew, and Nick's Factory.
Okay.
But Sands Factory, Sands meaning not to have. So and we don't have a factory. So that's where that came from. I thought it was still clever. So we never went back to Knickknacks, and everybody's lives kind of got in the way of becoming this new team thing. Maybe someday it'll happen, but for now it's not really.
Yeah, I get it. Well,
I mean,
the first thing I saw was
don't really focus on Etsy, so it's just not really ever happened.
Well, the first thing I thought of was sans serif, without a serif, and so I thought, probably without a factory. Yeah, that's great. I love it. So let me look back at the. I do too. I'm a dad too, so I mean, I got to love puns.
I'm gonna be a dad starting next month.
Nice. Yes. Congratulations ahead of time.
Yeah, we got the baby girl on the way next month.
Man, that's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about this. Where did this idea come from? Talk to me a little bit about the process, maybe any details that you're proud of or that you want to point out about this piano.
This one started out like many of the designs on my Etsy. They were an idea somebody else had and asked if I could try to do it. So with this one, I was asked if I could do a piano that you put the dot inside of. And I was like, I'm pretty sure we can. Like, what kind of piano? And this is actually named after Raylene, is the person who requested this, and she asked for a grand piano, so it became the Raylene Grand. And I mean, I knew what a grand piano looked like, and So just the idea of taking the dot and putting it inside, I was like, all right, so grand piano, we've got kind of like
Yeah.
an L flat shape, and then the front is always nice and flat, and then we have like the swooshy curvy bit on the back with the lid and everything. It's just all right. So I drew up the L with the swoosh bit, and then I took my measurements from my dot and I placed that in there, and I started cross-sectioning out the space required. And eventually, well, I say eventually, actually, this one was designed and built pretty quick, if I remember right. The hardest part was figuring out how I wanted to make a box with a crazy curve on it. Now, I did a living hinge with the old timey radio because that was just the easiest solution. I did not do a living hinge here. The curve, as you can see, is all those layers that just get stacked, and they clip in and connect to the box to make it stay solid. But I didn't use a living hinge because when I was working on this, I had no idea how to solve for the length of that curve to create the hinge around that. Like I had no idea how to do that. And it took a while for me to learn how to do that. And now I know how to make curves that follow like all kinds of crazy lines, or hinges that follow crazy curves. But I honestly think that the layers to create that backside were probably the simplest option. And I really like how you can see into them. Like, I don't think that there's a really good picture in there. There might be a top-down one where you can see into those layers, but it provided a great option to add detail, because I like layered pieces. So I try to use there we go, with all the little music notes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they actually if that's playable, but I tried to follow I don't know music terms.
Music notes.
Is it 5, 1, 2, 3, 4?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I didn't research that part, but I tried to follow creating like a musical score with the notes on the lines and stuff, and it came out rather well, in my opinion. Doing
I
that.
love it. I mean, I just again, as a designer, all the little details you put in here that you put in all your stuff, I love. By the way, Joshua Furman, good to see you, my friend. Glad you were here. Another great designer. But I love the layers that you have in there, and I love that you put the notes on different layers. That's really cool. Just another added dimension. And then I love the aqua blue piece there.
I love that blue. I love that blue. It's a spray paint. It's like Seaside Satin or something like that from Walmart, and I believe that blue goes with any wood color.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. Man, it's great. So talk to me about these little guys right here. I'm sorry, you can't see my mouse. These guys right here, these pins.
Oh, those the little nubby things that stick out on the different parts of the design. They're a series of pins, and I've designed a few different ones, but they're what I use to align certain pieces and hold them together. Because like I said, I don't like to use glue. And sometimes I need a way to bind stuff together, be it like a one layer, or as you can see, that big old stack of layers in the back. Those pins go all the way through. And sometimes they're flat tipped like on the end. But for the stuff that's like on my Etsy, they're usually kind of like a male female connector that just interlocks, and they don't let go without usually breaking. And they're so small that they're easy to replace if I need to on a design. I can get pieces connected, and then if I don't like the way they connect, I can just pop them apart and redo. So I'm not gluing stuff to myself or other things. And I like the extra little depth that they add. There's like an extra little, almost like another layer to the design, thanks to the way they stick out. And they're editable. I mean, they don't have to be that little flat curve thing. You can put anything on the ends of them. I've used some in designs, I'll put like a loop or a circle inside one, and then we'll attach chains to things and let things dangle, and they
Nice.
still just connect together.
Very cool. Well, I'm multitasking here. I'm buying both of those right now.
Oh, I
Well,
mean,
because
thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Because I saw somebody else said, who was it? Oh, Kat. She said, "This is really cool. I've got two dots that just sit there," and I realized, me too. And I'm creative, and the one thing I haven't been creative with are those stupid little dots. They're just boring,
I've
And
been
so I'm gonna have a piano sitting here. Of course, I'll have to come up with a. I'll have to have you like sign them or something. So when people come here, they go, "Oh, I know who made that. That's
like
cool."
I said, I want to do something with that new Gen 4 sphere
Yeah,
one. And then this is mine. I have one of the hubs
yeah, yeah.
that I use, and I've been wanting to do something with this one as well, but haven't really had an idea for either the sphere or the soda can,
Well,
the
guys,
big
while
soda
I'm
can.
still talking with Nick, let us know what questions you have for him. I'll ask you this. We talked about this yesterday also. In general, what does your process look like? Let's say you're starting from zero on something.
Uh,
Are you a sketcher? Do you go straight to Illustrator? Do you start measuring? Where do you start? What does your process look like?
Very rarely do I ever actually pick up a pen or a pencil and sketch. I don't sketch well. Um, like I'll have an idea and I'll try to draw it out, but unless it's in a two-dimensional plane, be it like face on or from the
Yeah,
top down, I I can't sketch in 3D. I can't draw stuff at angles. So I usually just dive right into Illustrator in creating cross sections of what I want to make. So like if we start out with like something like the
yeah,
big old hub Alexa, what I would do is draw this in cross sections in Adobe Illustrator based on its size. So I take a measurement of the circumference, or is
yep,
it circumference? I think it's
uh,
circumference for
yes. Well,
yes.
the diameter. Yeah, right.
And then I'll draw that. It's just a big old circle, boom, and I'll kind of put maybe a couple details in there so I know what I'm looking at. That's the top of it. There's a button, boom, top of Alexa face, and
Yeah,
then I'll do the side, which becomes a rectangle, and
yeah.
then well, that one's pretty simple. But then that gives me the space that I need to work around to create everything else. So I'll have it sit there represented in not 3D, but the different top, side, possibly bottom faces mapped out, and then I can start building things around it. And to do that, like if I'm looking at the side view and like say here's going to be the wall of the design, and this is going to sit here. Well, I draw that in not 3D space, but
Right.
that wall. It'll be however wide my material is, and then
Yep.
however tall it needs to be, and it'll be just kind of like looking like a little line segment, a little 5 millimeter line segment, and then I will also do that same wall from the front face. So then I see how wide it is and how tall it is and not how thick it is. And it's literally just kind of like almost like a grid. I just go through and design and build and expand out of each piece. It's kind of hard to explain.
No,
Like
but I
it's
follow you. Yeah.
pictures. I'm better with pictures. I'm better
Well,
with pictures.
and I think that, and by the way, Mary, you asked what Nick's Etsy site was. It's on the screen there, but I'll also put it in the chat. So either way, you can get it there. Um, I I like to hear what each person's process is. Like I know my friend Tyler that I work with here, he has a sketch pad and he's sketching all the time, and he's really good at that. I'm probably really close to you. I'm not a very good sketcher. I can, and mostly I sketch not for anyone else to see it, but just for me to kind of get my idea. What in the world am I doing here? You know, It's not even anything that I could ever translate to the computer. It's just kind of grabbing an idea or two, you know.
If I'm out and like meeting somebody that wants me to do something, I'll take my sketchbook with me, but it's mainly just me taking measurements.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
I'll go out with like a tape measure like a side of a wall or something,
Yep.
and then I'll sketch out some quick dimensions and whatnot. But that is really it. My sketches aren't good.
Mine aren't either. I'll have an app on my iPad, like, here's my notes from our conversation yesterday. And I'll just
See, that's
scribbling
something
them.
I need to look at is like one of those little tablety things.
Yep. I like paper a lot, but I also like the fact that I can have this with me all the time. So, either way. Okay.
You get the
Mark is
sun in your eye,
fighting
buddy.
Oklahoma allergies this morning. So if my face explodes, at least we're on video. So that's good. We got record of it. Let me ask you another question. As a designer, I know that there are things that you don't enjoy. Like I know most of us, as we go up the creative scale, more and more and more creative, we tend to dislike the business side of things more and more as well. Like, it's just, the reality is it's part of our existence, but it's not necessarily our favorite thing. And I know for you, I hope I characterize you appropriately here. Things like Etsy is just part of the deal, but it's not your favorite thing,
No.
More your favorite thing is creating. If I were to ask you, I think I know the answer, but what brings you joy the most? Like, what makes you the most happy? Is it just losing yourself in a design? What do you enjoy about what you do?
My favorite aspect of what I do is actually not the design part or the Etsy or it's literally putting the thing together. That's my favorite part, because I feel like I'm building or creating the pieces for like my own Lego sets and stuff. And I just I like to tinker and build things with my hands. And I don't have those toys anymore. I don't got the Legos or the Erector set connects or
You
any of
should.
those like buildable toys,
Right.
because they're super expensive now. And I got,
They are.
when I was a kid, I gave them all away to my younger siblings. What I had got passed down. So they're all gone. I don't know where they went. But the laser kind of lets me make and design my own Lego pieces.
Yes.
And then I got to put them together how I want into what I want. And that's my favorite part is getting all my pieces cut and building the thing. I like to build stuff. It's fun.
I can tell, man. I can also tell that your mind just works. I was gonna say different. I'll say better, because you can definitely see things in a 3-dimensional space better than a lot of people. Just kind of scrolling through here, your jellyfish lamp. I know you did that. I say recently. I guess it wasn't that recent anymore.
It was a little bit more recent.
Yeah.
Those lamps are some of my more recent things that made it to Etsy. I haven't really put anything new up there in a good little while, though.
What's something else? I mean, all these get my attention for different reasons. What's something else on here that you think would be fun to talk through for a second? I like so many of these things. Let's see.
I mean,
of course, we're not going to call it the Enterprise, of course, because that would be.
That's the USS Knickknacks.
Yes, of course.
It's even labeled that.
So tell me about
what it's called on the
here,
on the L car.
Let me see if I can put that one up here. Bear with me for just a moment. Yeah, there we go. Talk to me about this design. Where did this come from? I know it came from your head, but where did it come from? What do you got going on here?
It's an L-Cars master display from Star Trek, and that's a Galaxy class ship on the L-Car, and that's what it is. There's a lot of those L-Car panels and stuff that you can find, and I took one and I cut it up and decided to do layers with it. And there's edge lit acrylic because I love putting lights into things.
Yep. Oh, look at this.
That's what that is. It's a laggy.
And by the way, I just want to point out again, because I think this is ingenious. Either just because you prefer not to use glue, you don't want to use glue, you have found ways that I think are really ingenious to use. And I love it. And I see things like this right here. Of course, I don't know what other word to use other than tabs and slots. I'm not
I
really
mean,
sure what
tabs
else
and
to say.
slots.
Yeah.
That's the joinery that we use in laser cutting, like most commonly is tabs and slots.
Right. I love
And
it.
it's
I don't know
just
if I can get the corner down here. Let me see. I can't quite get the corner in the shot here very well. Same thing going on in the corner here. I love that. That is really cool.
interconnecting parts that really just grab into each other because I want things to stay solid and together. Not those frames get glued together when I'm done, but the fact that they all interlock during assembly is very, very helpful.
And everybody, I want to just talk to the whole audience here is I want you to see Nick's creations here as they sit, but I think both of us would love it if you would look at these and get inspired for something for yourself too, right? I mean, if looking at the way that he has those tabs, you know what I'm saying? Understanding what's happening there, I think will teach you. It's humbling and a little bit strange for me to hear, but I know that you said that when you first started, you started using some of my files and some other people's files, kind of break them down and figure out how they work.
Oh
And
yeah, I dissected several of yours, several of Josh Wenning's,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Victor Havens. I dissected
Yep.
a good bit of his work to learn
Oh,
how to do what I wanted to do, and that's the evolution of it. Like that frame thing is kind of the evolution of like where I started with stuff kind of like this.
oh yeah.
I
Hold on.
mean,
Let me get that full screen here. Just a second.
okay,
There you go.
yeah. So this is about 3 years old, and I liked layered pieces, and I wanted to get lights into them. So, I mean, I started just by engraving and doing patterns onto a piece of acrylic, and these go into the pretty common. Everybody knows about these little light bases.
Yep. Yep.
And I just wanted to do light up stuff that was a little
Yeah.
bit more fancy, I guess you could say, but without getting overly complicated. Like that light up frame one is. That one actually requires you to get LED strips and possibly do some soldering work. And I like layered pieces, and I like building like 3D things and using layers, but I've never been a fan of
Yep.
the edges
Yeah.
and gluing them together, because I mean we got glue seeping through, layers and stuff can be off, and it just doesn't get it's not right. I don't like it. It's not
Right.
perfect. My OCD kicks in. This is off by this amount, and now that everything's ruined. So
Yes. Yep. I get it.
so that's how that frame came about. I wanted to keep doing layered work and using acrylic to light stuff up, but I was like, I'm not gonna play this glue this together manually, this layer, then this layer, then this layer. I didn't want to play it. So I developed frames with pins and slots and things to line everything up and do that part for me. And then I can add glue and it'll stay together where it needs to be.
I love it. I mean, it makes me think of the old phrase that necessity is the mother of invention, right?
And I
I
mean, it
mean,
really is. And
it
I
really is.
had a
Now,
mighty need to not do those bits by hand.
right. But if I can, I don't know if there's an analogy of this for you, but for me, uh, I love how when you either don't want to or don't know how to do something, if you're creative enough, you'll find another way to get it done. And in your case, technically you could have used glue, but it wasn't your preference. So you came up with other ways to do it instead.
Mhm.
Right. And I love that. For me as a graphic designer, I won't name the tools specifically in Photoshop, but there are tools that other professionals know how to use that I am terrible at. And what's funny is over the years, my style has evolved. Since nobody else is listening, it's just be you and me, right? My style has evolved from partially from me avoiding the tools I'm no good at. And so I developed another style to get around it.
Mhm.
And honestly, unless I tell people, they don't know that I did that. They go, "Oh, I really like your style." And I'm like, "Well, it's because I'm avoiding something else." You know, they don't know. And then after a while, when I do learn that other thing, I still don't use it because I've now gone over here. So for you, you don't use glue. You could, but you've learned another way.
I mean, I always recommend it to make when you're done, go back, glue things together to make sure it stays together. But
Right.
yeah, we can avoid it during the assembly process, so we're not fiddling
Sure.
and making accidents, and we can see it before it's done without
Yeah.
having to actually make it solid.
But also, I don't have it on the screen again, but you and I were looking at the piano and also parts of the radio, and your clips are also, I call them design elements as well. Like they're not just functional, but I like the way they look.
I try to make them blend in a certain way. Getting that one on the piano
Yeah.
is the only one I've managed to figure out how to make that's identical on both sides. So
Oh,
the male and female connectors, the outside faces are identical. You can't tell which one's which, or I mean you could if you change the ends, but they can be identical. And that's kind of like going back into my OCD thing. If I want to flip it over and then the other side's kind of like, it doesn't look like it. You can definitely tell that this is, joined here in a specific way. I mean, I don't want that stuff. So I try
right.
my best to make things symmetrical where I can.
I love that, man. I wish I could give more examples, but there are so many projects that I've done over the years that during the process, uh, things came to a grinding halt because I couldn't figure something out. But then the wrestling at that point almost always ends up with something better in the long run. So if you're trying to figure out how to make a pin system and you don't know how, eventually when you finally succeed, you're better because of it, right? But I've had to learn. I'm not there yet, but I've had to almost just intentionally embrace that part of the process of going, I'm really frustrated, and I know that when I get past this, it's going to be awesome because I'm going to have a pin or I'm going to have a thing that I've developed. And it doesn't even really matter if you're the first person that did it or the last person. The fact that you went through the process, like you're probably not the first person to make pins like that, or at
Oh
least to learn
no.
that idea.
Oh no.
Right. I
They're
mean,
totally based off of other people's works and ideas and
right,
not necessarily even like laser cut works or ideas. It's just different
right.
types of joinery and whatnot that I've looked at. And I'm like, that's a solution that I would like to incorporate.
Yes. I love it, man. I really do. Uh, I put it on earlier, but Shelly said she loves your frames and she uses them often on many things she makes. That's really cool. Mary said someone gave me a bunch of Lincoln logs and a box of Erector set pieces and a box of Legos. Yes, yes, absolutely.
I
That's
forgot
great.
about old Lincoln logs. I forgot
Yes,
about
man.
those.
I did a short video yesterday just about this, about how I think that as creative people, we need to be willing to look at an idea more than once. And what I mean by that is, have you ever bumped into an idea two or three times, and the third time you go, wait, that's brilliant. And the first two times it didn't connect with you or something. And I think it's important that we don't reject old ideas, because sometimes you can get new ideas from old ideas.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Either because you're in a different place now, or your mind's in a different place. I don't know. So I try to revisit ideas over and over again to see if I can come up with something new or if it hits me in a different way.
I've got a big old folder called like my project vault
Yeah.
where things go to die. But once in a while, I do some necromancy magic and pull stuff out of there. I'm like, I know how to do things differently now. So
Right.
by using like some of these new techniques and skills that I have learned, maybe this doesn't need to be in the graveyard. maybe we can bring it back and put some life into it and make it actually work this go around.
Did you just coin a phrase? Did you just say necromancy? Is that
I
what you
mean,
said?
I'm still a little sick and can't hear very well, but I mean,
Necromancy. Yeah. Nick brings an old project from the grave back again. I love it. That's great. That's cool, man. I this has been so great, just spending some time with you and getting to know you a little better. And I hope everybody else does too. Guys, go to his Etsy and follow his Etsy. Um, neither one of us are pushing for you to buy stuff. If you want to, that's awesome. Please do. If it's not your thing, that's great. But follow his Etsy. I think you'll enjoy just seeing his journey there. Also, his Instagram as well.
I do
What
have
do you
an
post on
Instagram.
Instagram?
Most of my stuff actually goes to Instagram, but you can't buy files off my Instagram.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. So just follow him wherever you can, and we will definitely have Nick around more often. I guess before we go here, I'll tease something a little bit here. Will and I, those of you guys have been following, Will, Louie, and I, we had a conference back in August in Sacramento, and we are right now, don't tell anybody, just between us, the 45 of us still here. But we are planning a conference in Dallas in February of 2023. And I'm going to do my best. No promises, but I'm going to do my best to get my friend Nick to be there as well. That'd be cool. If we can make it work, great. If we can't, we'll make it work sometime. We'll come to your part of the world if we have to. But I just think that it'd be so much fun to be able to spend time as creators together and to spend time with the community. So if you guys are interested, just put a pin in I think it's the 24th through the 26th of February. And Will and I will be making an announcement very soon. We'll probably have some tickets available soon, but that will be a great time to hang out. And if we can get Nick there in person, great. Maybe we'll have him live on video, but we'll have him there one way or the other. It'll be a lot of fun.
I would like to join y'all in those and meet other like-minded folks that enjoy doing what we do.
Yep, absolutely. So I have to ask some random question. This is totally random. You'll not even know why I'm asking, but so when I met a bunch of people at these different events, the one thing they always say about me more than anything is they go, "Wow, you are a lot taller in person than I thought you were." Because of course I'm always this tall on the screen, right?
I don't know.
So,
I
how
picture
tall are
you
you?
being rather tall. Like I've seen like you in comparison to some of the things you have designed, and I'm like, Mark is taller than he appears. I know he's taller.
I'm taller than this chair. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, no, some of the stuff
No,
that I've made that you've designed, like, I know how big it is in scale,
right.
and I'm like,
You see that? Yeah, you go. That hand's pretty big. And of course, me and my friend Will, Will, if you're still on, much love. We are definitely different on that end as well. So that's a lot of fun. How tall are you, Nick?
I think I'm like 5'10". I'm just under like 6 foot, so 5'10", 5'11".
Does it depend on what's going on up here as to how tall you really are?
Oh man, I can get really tall with my hair. Like when I wake up in the morning, I got the Albert Einstein thing going on, starting to turn all white and gray, and I can just kind of.
I get it. And of course, mine is doing the receding thing. So yep.
Mine's been. I don't have the receding. Like every male in my family, though, has been gray before the age of 40, and it looks like I'm gonna follow that trend.
Yep. So you haven't hit the 4-0 yet?
No, not yet.
No,
I'm 36. No, 4, 5.
If you say it with confidence, nobody's gonna know.
I mean, I don't know. I don't celebrate.
Here, we'll back up the tape. We'll back up the tape real quick. We'll back up the tape. Nick, how old are you? Oh, come on, say it quick.
I gotta think about it.
I'm 36. Oh, great, man. Well, it's been such a joy hanging out with you. Thank you so much. Let me see if we got any last questions. We got a couple more here. Karen. Yep. I feel you here. I'll just put this on the screen because Karen, I am so with you talking about glue. She was gluing together the firehouse and she went to put the skylights on the top and dropped the one she had Gorilla Glue on and it landed on the top, but not where intended.
Yeah.
Karen, we are your people. We are your tribe. You are not alone. We've all done that. Absolutely. So I'm sorry that happened, but you're not the only one for sure.
I got a little piece of something glued to my work table. It's there forever. I've been thinking about getting the chisels out or trying to grind it off, and I'm like, this needs to go.
We've got a table right behind me, a coffee table, and it's got a penny glued to it by accident. Well, I say it's by accident. I don't know if someone thought it was funny, but I can't get it off.
That's awesome, Brian. I make those as gifts. I think every year I make like 2 or 3 of them around the holiday time, and they just get passed out to friends and family.
That's really cool. We're gonna make some around here for sure. And Christy, I think it's probably a good time to end right here because Christy, we all feel you. After 30, it seems like we all forget our age.
I mean, we don't need to track it no more. We can do everything we need to do at this point. I think we can rent a car, right? At 30? Or is it like
Yes.
I think that's the last big one.
Well, I got to say that I'm 53, and I will tell you that I have never been better in my life. I'm smarter. I've got more wisdom. Life is great. Sure, I get up a little slower. I make more noise when I move around. I do the whole old man groaning or grunting when I stand up or sit down. But I tell you, never been better. Life is great. I'm in my prime, and I'm doing things I love. And to be honest, spending time with creators like you, this is absolutely bucket list stuff for me. So I love it so much. It's been so great. This will not be our last time. Everybody will be spending time with Nick a lot more in the future, hopefully. But Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
we'll say bye to everybody in the chat, and then Nick, hang around for a minute and we'll talk before we get out. But everybody, we are right on the nose at 60 minutes, just like I planned. Boom. Like we're professionals. Look at that.
Like we're professionals.
It won't happen twice. Man, Nick, thank you so much. Hang around. Everybody else, thanks for coming. If you missed the live, you can watch it on demand anytime you want. Drop some questions in the chat, and we can still keep up with you in the groups. Thanks so much for hanging out. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you in the groups. Take care.